Great. So welcome everyone to a new edition of the Globant Career Week. My name is Agustina Alberto. I'm currently, well, my background it's not helping, but I'm currently in the New York office. And in this particular session, which is called Hacking Leadership, you're going to be hearing the story of three amazing leaders, which they're going to be presenting themselves in a couple of minutes. But first, I want to thank them for being here, for being, open to share their experience and also some insights. So thank you very much. And lastly, I just want to mention, remember, you can, go into globant.com, see the amazing opportunities that we have there ready and waiting for you. So without, further ado, let me just, open the scenario for my amazing team here. And let me start by, asking the first question, which is, I'm going to be asking you to present yourself, share a little bit of your career at Globant. And if I can add a little bit more to that, do you want to share any specific moment in time in where your career that something made you decide to pursue, a leadership path, and what was the driver to that? So, tell again as a summary, a little bit of your experience, and if there was a moment in time where you decided to become a leader. So ladies first, we do have Ani here. So Ani, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Agus. And thank you for having me. I am also in the New York office here at Globant in a separate room, but I am Anika Sanin. I'm head of design here in the US, and I've been at Globant for about 6 years now. I came in through an acquisition of another company. And I think that I don't recall a moment in which I came into a leadership role. I think it all happened very organically. I've always liked mentoring people, and I think it's always been an organic thing for me to want to empower others to, to follow their career path and to be better at work and as people. Mm-hmm. So I think that's how I kind of came into this role.
Very natural. Yeah.
I think so.
Great. Thank you, Ani. Do we have Vadim or Rahul here with us?
Let me take the lead. So my name is Vadim. I'm happy to be here. At Globant, I represent multiple studios and Belarusian Talent Development Center. I started my career in project management maybe a decade ago, and it started because I wanted to build projects, especially those that help people. My first project helped people to survive and actually not to lose savings in the United States. My latest project helps gaming industry. We develop tools that help company to create AAA projects. And the reason I actually started my leadership career is because I'm skilled at leading teams, optimizing delivery, and identifying and challenging processes. So that skill was available with me from day one, so to say, and my leadership decided to give me a task, and that is how I became manager. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story, Vadim. And last we have Rahul. Welcome to the stage.
Hi everyone. My name is Rahul Gole. I'm based out of Pune, India. I have been associated with Globant from 7 years. Like Anika, I have also come from one of the acquisitions. Naturally, it has come to me, right? So from a leadership perspective, I've always been in that role at Globant. I've played multiple hats, right from managing accounts to leading practices to leading studios. My current role is head of studios from India. So yeah, that's about me. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm sure you're already inspiring others, to pursue a career at Globant, and especially leading others as well. So moving to the next question, what I wanted to ask you is, what are the challenges that you're seeing, currently, like leading technology projects? Are you seeing, specific things that probably, were not here in the past? Is there anything you want to share with us today about it? And here,
Sure,
we don't have any specific order. You can go ahead.
Sure. So I think from the challenges perspective, we are just coming out of pandemic, so there has been a lot of challenges as a leader as how do we operate, right? There has been a lot of market volatility. There has been a challenge with respect to talent, right? Managing that talent as well and managing the aspirations of that talent. So that I suppose is one of the biggest challenge right now, which we have in front of us. Uh, so it's very important that how do we manage these teams, how do we manage these multidisciplinary teams which are working across locations uh, from a tech perspective, and also ensure that we are aligning to their aspirations. I think that is what I feel is some of the biggest challenge which we are seeing in the current market.
Good. Vadim, do you share the same experience as
Sure, I
Rahul?
agree. I agree with the previous speaker, and I also want to add that, well, I would probably use something that exists over time. So we all find our 25th hour in a day so that we could spend it with our teammates. So that is the biggest challenge for you to find time. Also, we want to predict things and not become actually a fire start sorry fire come on firefighter in the end. So we also need to find the right recipe for the peers we work with, also including the customer, and not to mention that motivation and feedback for your peers is very important. So you should struggle a lot to get to the gist of this and help all your teammates around. That's me.
Perfect. Thank you, Vadim.
Yeah, I think that building on what Vadim and Rahul were saying, I think it's been certainly a challenge to maintain teams motivated, especially before we used to get together in person and we had a bit more of a personal touch. So translating that into how we now work, especially for some of us, we've never even met people that have been working in our team in person for many years now. So
Right.
I think that's been a challenge, and also people are a little bit meeting saturated. So how do you make those conversations meaningful, and how do you make sure that everybody is maintaining their motivation and feels that they can approach you no matter what the format is, right? So I
Right.
think that's been, in my end, something that I've been thinking about a lot in terms of how we are leading teams today.
Yeah, definitely. A lot has changed since, I would say, 2020, end of 2019, 2020, and the way that, now we are adjusting and leading our teams. We were briefly discussing, in preparation for this meeting, like, everything changed, and now we are in some ways probably we're even closer to our teams because being all exposed to the same situations and being all going through the same and getting into a Zoom meeting or whatever platform you were using, you were getting into their homes, right? So there was something in there that made different connections with our teams. So now it's I don't know if we should call it a challenge. I don't know if you agree or not, but it's something that now we need to continue building upon, and continue growing from there. Um, so we were kind of in a funny way saying that was probably one of the benefits, let's say, from what we went through in the last couple of years. Like with this, we in some ways we went a little bit closer to our people because we were part of their daily homes or daily activities, or even seeing kids, family around, like everyone working from home. So definitely something that we learned from the past, and that we will continue to you know improve and even get closer and closer. So I would say that's one of the challenge, building from there as well, which you have been doing great, and I want to also mention that as well. So I think you briefly mentioned this, but thinking about the challenges, um, you know, what would you say should be or are the main skills that a leader should have, and And if you want to give examples as well, it's totally fine. But which ones should be the skills or your opinion related to that?
Well, for me, it is smart negotiations with the people around you. So you should be very much fit for well, to become a true leader. Also being always professional. You cannot create work half done or be unprepared for a meeting. It's totally unacceptable. Also, you should constantly innovate, be very much creative, if it's not innovation, or pragmatic at least, because you will need to find a very good solution to any problem that your team arises. So that's probably the three major skills that I can encounter.
For me, I come from tech, so I think it's very important to align what are the technology trends which are happening, so that you align the team accordingly, right? And ensure that you understand and educate and mentor the team in that direction. Second, what I would look at is to be a servant leader, right? Always having ear to hear them, right? So that most of the time what I've seen is people are not looking for solutions but some guidance, right? So it's very important to hear, understand what they're going through, and then guide them accordingly. And last, I think it's very important to empower the team to take those decisions and move forward. So I think those are the three areas or three skills I feel are relatively important.
Thanks for sharing.
Great. And I think I'll bring a bit of the softer side to this conversation. I do agree with all the skills that you guys have brought up. I think that that's all really important, and also being very organized, which I think is a lot of the times not taking as much into account, but I think it's really important. But beyond all of that, I think it's really important to just be human with your team, and to allow for people to feel their feelings at work, especially with everything that's been going on, and not only providing the space for them to be human, but also kind of leading by example and allowing ourselves as leaders to also show certain vulnerabilities, so that people feel that it's okay for them to talk and to share that as well. And of course, providing that space to have these meaningful conversations with teams. And I know that this is something that we really do a lot at Globant. And I don't know, Agus, if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, totally. You're just giving me, the excuse to move into the next topic, which is, meaningful conversations. And one of the key aspects of that is that we think this is this is truly successful for our career, our team's development, and we promote a culture of continuous feedback. So great that you're bringing this up. And I also wanted to ask you if you do. I'm asking a lot of questions, so please bear with and stay with me a little bit more time. If you have 2 or 3 tips you want to share about those meaningful conversations, any experience or any tip that you remember thinking about and preparing yourself going into these conversations with your team, that you think will help the audience here.
Yeah, I can start. I think that it's really important, as much as we want to be encouraging to our teams and we want to give that positive feedback. I think it's really important for us to also be able to clearly deliver on areas in which the people in our teams need to improve. I've heard many times the concept of a feedback sandwich, and I really love that, which is something that you shouldn't do, essentially sandwiching negative feedback between positive feedback. It really sends the wrong message, and people just end up confused and not knowing what it is that they need to improve on. So just being able to have hard conversations and in an encouraging way, of course, because we want to motivate people at the end of the day and give them the tools that they need to improve certain things. But but being able to have those conversations in an honest way, and in a way in which your team can assume that you always have their best interests at heart, I think is really important.
Yeah, and it's totally related to what you were sharing before, right? Like those connections and allowing everyone to express and being present for them. So I think it's it's a great tip, and it's totally related with everything we have just mentioned. Vadim or Rahul, any tip you want to share with the audience?
Well,
Sure, I will.
definitely.
Go ahead, Vadim.
Okay, thank you very much. So, initially you talk to people a lot, and you collect the feedback and digest it. Then it is probably time to have a meaningful conversation with your peer. So in order to make it effective, I must say they have maybe two advice points here. First of all, you need to provide examples to this feedback you are sharing, because sometimes facts could be treated in various ways, and each person perceives it differently. So you need to bring some situations you faced, especially with your teammate by yourself, and there are some maybe project related behaviors the teammate shared with you, combine everything all together, and each feedback unit should be discussed around some examples. So that's my advice number one. As for the other advice, I think brainstorming together with your teammate about collected feedback and finding certain areas of growth is also important, because you should not leave the person alone. And basically speaking, you never stop improving yourself as well with this type of behavior. So if you meet this feedback together with your peer, that would be the best solution, I think. So that's my point.
Yeah, I think it's
So I
key.
think
I'm sorry, Rahul. One comment to what Vadim was saying is, I think it's key to be prepared, right? So it's not that you're just going to the meeting and let's see what we're going to be doing there, but you prepare yourself, you gather feedback from others as well, and then you put together kind of let's say different things you don't want to miss in mentioning examples as well. But I would say the key thing here is be readiness for that meeting, and gathering others opinions and feedback as well. Sorry, Rahul.
sure. So I will build on that, to be honest, because I think just want to share the story around. So we have this continuous feedbacks and we receive feedbacks from our teams, right? And then based on that, I was able to come to know that I have been trying to be more helpful for them and trying to get engaged with them at a lowest level. But what I found during these conversations, because after the feedback, I was having discussions with my teams, one-on-ones, and trying to understand. I think what I realized was uh, to see how I can step one step back and give autonomy to the team, because I was feeling that I was helping them, but I think the way the team was also looking at it is to throw that challenge to them so that they can work on it, right? So I think
Right.
that's some of the conversations of those things help, and in fact that helped me create a lot of bandwidth to do more. So I think very
Mm-hmm.
important to take those feedbacks, understand, digest, have the discussions with the team, and then see how that you can take it forward, which is for your best, right? So I think
Right.
that's a story I would like to share.
Yeah, which is great, and something that I wanted to share as well is that we have been talking about continuous feedback. That again, we promote that culture of continuous feedback, and we were talking about providing and giving feedback, getting together with our teams. But I also want to share that as well as leaders, we are also being evaluated, right? And we get feedback from our teams as well. So two things to that: we do have feedback for leaders, so it's an opportunity as well for our teams to do an evaluation on how their leaders are performing based on different competencies as well, and some questions that that were defined, sorry. And then I also wanted to add that whenever having these meaningful conversations, it's not only a one-way conversation and where you're sharing everything with our teams, it's also an opportunity for them to share with us, right? What I normally do with my team as well is that I open the discussion on, like, this is a two-way conversation. I share my appreciation of the things that happen, and the feedback that I collected and what I put together, but I'm also giving them the space to also provide feedback to myself and share, their thoughts. And we build together that relation. So I would like to remind that as well. It's not that we're always talking about, a one-way conversation. It's a two-way, and that we also promote, our people to evaluate ourselves as leaders with our feedback for leader. So thanks for sharing, and I think those were great tips. Just to close on the feedback topic, right? Anyone wants to share any experience they have with with your leaders, with in a meaningful conversation, in a feedback session that you want to discuss, that change the way of your thinking, or probably made you think about things you needed to change. So any experience that any of you wants to share with the audience here?
Sure.
Well, there,
It's
age
good that
before
we have
beauty.
a lot of, it's good that we have everyone wanting to share. So it's great. Let's go ahead. Rahul, you can start if you want. Let's switch the
Sure,
order.
sure, sure. So yeah. So I'll just share on one of the experience I had a few years back. I think my leader came to me and then just said that this is one of the account which you need to, the project or account which you need to look at, and everybody, it was a very challenging
Mm-hmm.
one, and I just asked, and everybody, right, was having a challenge of whether to accept that role or not. And then my leader just came to me and said that, okay, you have to now start looking into it and take this as a challenge. And I just asked him whether this is something you're giving me as a choice, or whether whether I have the capability to say no. And then he said, you don't have a choice, but you are there. We are there to support you. And fortunately, I'm still managing that account. That account has grown
Mm-hmm.
from a 15-member team to a 200-member team, and that was something which I think which was a push which was needed at that point of time by my leader to grow to the next level. I think that's what Globant is all about, right? It's about right, throwing challenges to you, and there is a supporting system in place which helps you move forward in the right direction. So I think I just thought of sharing that experience.
Nice, thank you. And it's great to see that that project continues ongoing, and it's still
Yes,
alive, and it's successful, right? Thanks
absolutely.
for sharing. Vadim, do you want to share any
Well, yes,
moment?
for me, an inspiring leader, and I had several examples of such in my career, is one who is actually talking, well, about not only well, some improvements or areas of growth, but rather about some wins. Well, whether it is past wins or my next wins, okay? And besides that, it's also very important to focus on people's strengths rather than weaknesses. And I see that the majority of the leaders focus on weaknesses, whereas strengths are the most important thing to actually equip and play on, So that's my story.
Nice, thank you for sharing. Um, the last question. So we're already starting to close our session for today. Is what would you say makes a difference in leading? I mean, what is different in leading a technical project, right, rather than any other kind of project? Like in your experience, what would you say it's different from any other leading? I mean, from leading any other type of project. Sorry, who wants to go first? Annie?
I can go. Yeah, I think that it takes, it's definitely a lot of orchestration, not just with, the people, the teams that you're leading, but also with different leaders of other disciplines, as well as the people that they lead. So it's a lot of collaboration and a lot of intersections that happen in technology projects that I think make it different from other projects that I've been to. I have a background in advertising and marketing, and it felt a lot more focused than working on big technology projects. So yeah, I think that it's the orchestration of all of these things in order to produce high quality work and keep teams that are motivated and that understand
Mm-hmm.
that there's a common vision that you're all working towards.
Right. It's like putting a lot of different pieces together, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think I will go.
Rahul.
Yeah. So I'll just from a technology perspective, I'll totally 100% agree. Multidisciplinary team working from different locations is something which we continuously do. One of the things which I also look at it is in Globant we do a lot of multi-year projects, so it's very important to adapt to the continuous learning cycles, right? So having those continuous upskilling, right? We adapt to what is required by the customer and keep challenging to the customer as what is there in the market, right? So very important to align the team in that mindset, and that is what I see as a challenge during leading those technology projects, keeping the team on their toes and ensure that they are up to the challenge.
Thank you, Rahul.
And my opinion on this is, well, basically, when I came to Globant, I started to learn new things, and what is admiring, it's everyday learning piece. I understand that tech projects are very much disruptive, and they become, well, they're changing around, and they are very adaptive, and you should be very much adaptive to those changes they encounter. Not to mention that on the majority of accounts at Globant, there are distributed teams, so you work with a multinational and diverse people audience, so to say, and it's also a challenge because when we take some traditional projects into account, usually people are closely allocated, so they have the same goal, and the challenge of a tech project is actually to unify people around the same purpose, the same goal.
Right. Yeah, as Annie was talking, right? As also, multidisciplinary teams, and and also having teams that are spread in different countries, different time zones. So being able to manage all of that, I would say as well. It's part of this challenge, right? So thanks for sharing. I know that I mentioned it was going to be my last question. This is technically not a question itself. It's for everyone listening to us and paying attention to what we just mentioned, and anyone looking to start a career at Globant. You guys, you have quite a experience here and leading teams as well. Again, thank you for being here and sharing your experience. What advice would you share with anyone listening here that wants to start a career at Globant? In any type, sorry, of role, right? Like a leadership role, or if they want to start in any other type of role, what advice would you share with them?
Mine will be a very generic one, but be very passionate about what you do. Be very insightful in every aspect of your work. And I think working with your soft skills, working with people is very important trait. So pay attention to also being empathetic to people, being kind to people, because at Globant we have many initiatives, Be Kind initiative. So I think this is important, are part of our company, of our culture.
Great advice.
I will just second that, right? So culture is something which differentiates Globant. I come from a services company in the past, and amazing culture, right? You talk about some of the values which we carry: be kind, have fun, right? Excellence in your work, right? So those are the values which differentiates us, and we stand out. So I think those are the things which I continue to cherish and continue to uh, uh, explore while and every day there is a new challenge, and every day we work with that with passion and fun. So I think that's what I would keep this audience informed about.
Right. Thanks, Rahul.
Yeah, I think that definitely agree with what you both said. I think that also, I guess, looking beyond job descriptions and thinking about what you want to do every day and what you feel passionate about and how that would translate into the work that you would be doing at Globant, and also knowing that it's a place that has a lot of different opportunities, and that those passions and things that you want to do may evolve, and that there is the opportunity to, to pursue different paths if you would pursue a career at Globant. I think that that's something that I've seen a lot and that I would encourage.
Nice. Thanks to the three of you for sharing that. I also want to compliment by, to something that you mentioned, about our values and our culture. So our culture is, what makes us different. And I think that's great, right? And actually, I want to give an example of how much we value our culture and how much we value having fun, that we just started, and it's happening in we launched it globally, but every country is doing it in different weeks. But we're celebrating the Globers Week, which is a celebration, to ourselves, right? So this is an initiative that came, within from inside the company. Like Globers were proposing, like, let's celebrate ourselves. We feel proud of being Globers, and we want to have a celebration around it. So last year we did it. This year we changed it a little bit. This is a whole week in where we are celebrating, the different values that we have. But I think, to where what I'm trying to go is that showing that example of, how much our culture is so important to us, that we even created a celebration on our own. Like, we want to celebrate ourselves because we are Globers. So I just wanted to add that. I also wanted, the audience to hear about it. I think it's great. I love it. So once again, I want to thank everyone. I know that I keep on saying that, but I know, how crazy, I'm going back to leading projects, how crazy it is. So thank you for, spending time with me, talking about your experience, sharing, tips, and giving some, some examples. Sorry about it. I've been speaking a lot. So once again, thank you. I hope that everyone is enjoying, this talk. I will reiterate what I mentioned when we started. If you want to, find a career, start a career at Globant, feel free to go to globant.com. There is a space in careers. You will be able to see all of our openings. We will be more than happy to welcome everyone, to our family. And hopefully this, also inspire different leaders as well. And it will help others. So thanks once again from New York, Anika, and myself. I don't know if everybody's seeing, so Ani, the other way, so I should do this. Anyway, Vadim and Rahul, yeah. I hope that we meet again. Hope, that we can share this space and we can continue sharing some experiences. And to the audience, thanks for participating again in our Career Week, and especially this talk, which is called Hacking Leadership. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Thank
one.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.